Welcome to Absolute Beginners for Keyboard. Whether you're a budding pianist or the owner of a new keyboard, this video will get you started and get you playing fast. We'll teach you the basics that all keyboard players need to know. This video will guide you from the very first time you sit down at the keyboard through to playing whole pieces confidently with both hands together. Easy to follow instructions will guide you through correct posture and playing position, finding your way around the keyboard, reading basic musical notation, learning note names and understanding rhythm, and playing with hands separately and together. Play along with the backup track as you learn. First you'll hear how the music should sound, then try playing the part yourself. Practice regularly and often. 20 minutes every day is far better than 2 hours on the weekend with nothing in between. Not only are you training your brain to understand how to play the keyboard, you're also teaching your muscles to memorize certain repeated actions. A good playing position means that you'll be comfortable at the keyboard, and more importantly, you'll be more likely to play well. Sit facing the middle of the keyboard with your feet opposite the pedals, and try to keep a reasonably straight back. Avoid tension in any part of your body, particularly in your lower arms. Make sure you don't slump over the keyboard. An adjustable piano stool is better than an ordinary chair because it allows people of different heights to play in comfort. Make sure your seat is at a height that allows your lower arm to be level with or just above the keys. It works like this. Each finger is given a number. Left hand, right hand. You will see these numbers over the notes in the music. They tell you which fingers to use for those notes. Try to stick to the recommended fingerings for each piece, and you'll soon be in the habit of using the correct hand positions. You can now sit at the keyboard in the correct position, place your hands on the keyboard correctly, understand right and left hand fingerings. Your hand should be supported from the wrist. It's very important that you don't allow your wrist to descend below the keyboard. Now with your fingers sitting lightly above the keys, curl your fingers slightly as if you're gently holding a ball. Your fingertips should cover 5 adjacent notes in each hand. This is the normal 5-finger position to which your hand will eventually return automatically. Try resting a small coin on the back of your hand as you place your hand on the keyboard. You should be able to play quite comfortably without the coin falling off. At first glance, the keyboard may seem confusing. So many notes. But the keyboard is actually just the same series of 12 notes repeated over and over for its entire length. Only 7 letter names are used. The black keys are arranged in 2s and 3s in a repeating pattern. This irregularity is actually very useful because it enables you to find your way around the keyboard. This is the section that we'll be dealing with in this program. Reading music is easy. Once you understand the fundamentals, you'll take to it in no time. There are 2 basic elements to the way music is written: pitch and duration. Pitch tells you how high or low a note is. Low is to the left on the keyboard, high is to the right. Duration tells you how long the note is played for and when it is played in relation to other notes around it. Duration, how long a note lasts. Staff, the 5 lines on which music is written. Pitch tells you how high or low a note is. Low is to the left on the keyboard, high is to the right. If you look at any piece of music, you can see that notes have different shapes. Some have tails, some have solid note heads, while others are hollow. These will soon become very familiar to you. This symbol is called a whole note. It lasts for the duration of 4 beats. So it has a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. You count whole notes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This symbol is called a half note and lasts for 2 beats. So it's counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, this symbol is called a quarter note and lasts for 1 beat. This means that there are 4 quarter notes to every bar, and they are counted like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Most music has a basic pulse or beat. These beats are grouped together into larger units called bars or measures. When you tap your foot to a piece of music, you are responding to the beat. The most common grouping of beats is 4 to a bar, called common time. Each time you count 1, you begin a new bar. It's simple really, isn't it? Bar or measure, groups of beats, usually in 3s or 4s. Beat, the basic pulse or rhythm of music. Common time, the most common grouping of beats, also called 4/4 time. The easiest way to locate a white key is to see where it fits into the pattern of black keys. Look for the groups of 2 black keys, and then find the white key in the middle of these. This note is D. C is directly to the left of D, or to the left of the group of 2 black keys. The groups of black keys are repeated all the way up the keyboard, so there are lots of Cs. In order to tell them apart, we usually refer to one of them as middle C, which is, you guessed it, the one closest to the center of the keyboard. Notice that middle C occupies a small line directly under the main staff. This is called a ledger line. Ledger lines enable us to write notes which are higher or lower than the staff's 5 lines or 4 spaces. It is important to be able to recognize one C from another, otherwise you may play the right note in the wrong area of the keyboard. The following examples all use middle C and the notes just above it. Now you're ready to play your first piece. Don't worry about reading music. As long as you can count to 4 and you can remember where C is, then you can play this piece. After the 4-beat intro, play a C for 4 beats with the accompanying music. Then rest for 4 beats. Then play for 4 and rest for 4, and so on, throughout the piece. This may seem simple, but already you're teaching yourself the discipline of playing in time and how to count rests. You'll now hear how this will sound, and then you can play along with the backup track. Play this exercise a few times at differing speeds. Start very slowly and gradually increase the tempo. Smooth, regular, and controlled playing is what you should be aiming for at this point. Here is the note D, which you first found in between the 2 black notes. Make sure you play the D note directly to the right of middle C. On one side of the D note, you found the C note. On the other side is the E note. Here is a tune to help you learn where these notes are. First, play C with the thumb of your right hand. Now play D with your right index finger. Then play the E note with your middle finger. Allow 4 beats or 1 bar per note. Watch out for the 1 bar rest after each group of 3 notes. For this exercise, please refer to your book. F. G. A. B. Look at the keyboard and notice the repeating pattern of 3 black keys. You can use these groups as reference points to recognize the adjacent white keys. Reading from the left, they are F, G, A, and B. If you're having trouble memorizing the names and locations of all the notes, try putting labeled stickers onto the keys. Now that you're familiar with counting beats and bars, let's try an exercise that uses the 4 notes that you've just learned. This exercise will also help you learn to count half notes. For this exercise, start with the thumb of your right hand on the F note above middle C. Remember to use the relaxed hand position you learned earlier. Keep your other fingers just above the other notes. Listen to the demonstration first, and then try playing along with the backup track. The notes in this exercise change every 2 beats, so you have to think a little quicker than in the previous examples. You can now play 7 notes, understand the basic concepts of pitch and rhythm, read music on the staff. How can we use the same 5-line staff for notes in the right hand as well as for the lower notes played by the left hand? The answer lies in the symbol at the beginning of the music. This is called a clef, from the French for key. For the left hand, we use a bass clef, and in the right hand, we use a treble clef. These different clefs represent the letters G and F, and their placement on the staff indicates where these notes are located in the clef. In bass clef, there are dots on either side of the second line down from the top. This line indicates the position of the F note. From this, we can work out the positions of the other notes. Look at how the treble clef curls around the second line up from the bottom of the staff. This line indicates the position of the G note. From this, we can work out the positions of the surrounding notes. Treble clef, symbol used on the staff for the right hand. Bass clef, symbol used on the staff for the left hand. Here's how the notes in the bass clef are located. You'll find this C note immediately to the left of a group of 2 black notes. It is the first C that you come to when you go down from middle C. C. D. E. F. G. C. D. E. F. G. C. D. E. F. G. From now on, we will show all the notes on both staves with treble and bass clefs. Here's an exercise designed to get you used to playing with the left hand. Look out for this symbol. It tells you to leave a silent gap of 4 beats. Count them when you're not playing just as carefully as you count the notes you do play. That way, you will always stay in time. First, listen to the demonstration, then try playing along with the backup track. All of the music examples are included in the accompanying book. Remember that the fingering numbers start with 1 for the thumb and go up to 5 for the pinky. Here's an exercise to help you play notes several steps apart in the left hand. You may have noticed that the bass line skips from one note to another, from C to F, and from D to G. This type of interval is known as a fourth because it includes the first and fourth notes in the series. Similarly, an interval of a fifth skips from the first to the fifth note in a series. Bass lines often include fourths and fifths. First, listen to the demonstration and then try playing along with the backup track. You can now count and read different rhythms, recognize treble and bass clefs, use both your left and right hands. Now you know enough about keyboard playing to use both your right and left hands together. There are various things to look out for in this next piece. With 2 hands playing at once, it's more important than ever that you keep your hands and fingers in the right positions. Use the fingerings given, as they will help to minimize the movement of your hands over the keyboard. In the last bar of the piece, you will only play for 1 beat. The remainder of the bar is filled with rests. And what are those loops joining the last note to the one before? They are called ties. These literally tie or add the value of one note to another. In this case, your left hand doesn't re-strike the C in the last bar. You simply hold it down for 1 extra beat. So the last C in the left hand starts in bar 7 and lasts for 5 beats, 4 plus 1. And the E note in the right hand lasts for 3 beats, 2 plus 1. Take your time with the exercise. Make sure you're confident playing it at different tempos before moving on. Now that you're familiar with the note names in the left and right hands, we'll remove the safety net of putting the note names immediately below the music. First, listen to the demonstration, and then try playing along with the backup track. Rests, or when not to play. Now we will look at what the music tells us when you're not playing. The symbols that indicate silence are called rests. These have rhythmic values similar to notes. This is how they work. A rest for a whole note, or 4 beats, is written like this. A shorter rest for a half note or 2 beats looks like this. A quarter note rest lasting for 1 beat looks like this. You can combine these rests to create other durations. For example, to have a silence for 3 beats, you would combine the 2-beat half rest with the 1-beat quarter rest, like this. You now know 7 notes in the right hand and 5 notes in the left hand. To summarize what you've learned, play through each note slowly, reminding yourself of the note name and its relation to the staff and keyboard. A chord is created when you play more than one note simultaneously. You can do this with the right or left hand, or with both hands together. There are many different types of chords. Here are a few simple forms that you can master in seconds. Most notes in a chord are played with the right hand, so that's a good place to start. Later, we will add more notes to our chords and introduce the left hand. Right hand chords. C major. F major. G major. Your right hand fingers won't always lie from 1 to 5 over C through G, and this chord sequence is a case in point. To move to the best position in the second bar, it is necessary to get ready in bar 1. So you should use fingers 1, 2, and 4 to play the first chord. When the same chord comes back in bar 5, you can use the standard 1, 3, 5 fingering, because this helps prepare the downward movement for the chord in bar 6. Try to make the fingers move smoothly and positively from one key to another. As you play one chord, try to think ahead to the next one and prepare your fingers for their new positions. For this exercise, please refer to your book. Now try playing along with the backup track. Try not to let your hands move out of position when you play this piece. As the music gets more complex, it's increasingly important that your hands make the minimum movement to play the notes. Now let's add the left hand. Generally, when playing chords, the left hand plays fewer notes than the right, and they are more widely spaced. The left and right hands don't play separate chords, they simply share the job of playing the notes of one chord. Practice the following exercise one hand at a time. You already know the right hand part. It's exactly the same as the previous exercise. Now we are going to add the left hand. Once again, hand and finger positions are crucial. From the one basic hand position you've been using so far, you should be able to play all the notes in this piece. C major, F major, G major, First, listen to the demonstration and then try playing along with the backup track. Now let's introduce a little motion in the right hand while keeping the left hand steady. Remember that the quarter notes in the right hand have a count of 1 beat each, while the whole notes have a count of 4 beats each. Watch out for the sudden stop at the end where you only play the first beat of the last bar. The rest of the bar is silent, as indicated by the rests. As the exercises get more complicated, remember that you can isolate your left and right hands, practicing them independently before putting them together. First, listen to the demonstration, and then try playing along with the backup tracks. For this exercise, please refer to your book. Here's an exercise to get you used to moving your left hand while keeping your right hand fairly still. The left hand moves every 2 beats, so it's quite easy to play. But be careful to keep the C note at the bottom of the left hand part constant. It's only the upper note that changes. Notice that in the last bar, you play 2 beats on and 2 beats off. Good musicians always try to have clean endings, and it's a good habit to have. First, listen to the demonstration, and then try playing along with the backup track. Now it's time to look at one more note value, the 8th note. This is the shortest note that you're going to play in this program. The 8th note lasts for half of a beat and requires accurate counting. An 8th note is equal to 1/2 the value of a quarter note. In a 4/4 bar, they are counted like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. An easy way to count music with combined quarter notes and 8th notes is to call a quarter note tea and 2 8th notes coffee. For this exercise, please refer to your accompanying book. Look at the example and say the words under the staff rhythmically: tea, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, tea. Next, clap the line as you say the words. Then play the 2 bars keeping a steady beat pulse. If you see this sign at the end of a piece, it means that you are to repeat the entire piece. Sometimes only a section of a piece is to be repeated, and you will see the sign at the beginning and end of that section. Here's a tune full of quarter notes and 8th notes. To practice the rhythm, speak the words rhythmically, then count and play the tune with a slow, steady beat so you can focus on your fingering. Practice the tune a few times slowly until you can speed up and still be accurate. Look out for the repeat sign at the end of the piece. Coffee, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, coffee, tea. Coffee, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, coffee, tea. Coffee, tea, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, tea, tea. 1, 2, 3. Coffee, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, coffee, tea. Coffee, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, coffee, tea. Coffee, tea, coffee, tea, tea, coffee, tea, tea. 1, 2, 3. Another common grouping of beats is 3 beats to the bar. This is sometimes referred to as waltz time. Just count steadily to 3 and keep repeating. Try to feel the emphasis on the first beat of the bar and the overall rhythm of the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, etc. The dot after the half note has the effect of adding half the note's length to it. so you hold the note for 3 beats. You now have the chance to play 4 well-known pieces which are specially arranged for keyboard. For all the pieces, listen to the demonstration first and remember to keep counting all the way through. All of the music examples are included in the accompanying book. You can now sit comfortably at the keyboard, find left and right hand notes on the keyboard, read basic note values and pitches, read from both the treble and bass clefs, play right and left hand chords, play left and right hands together. You're now ready to try playing a complete song. Remember to follow the music carefully and you won't have any problems with the simple melody. First, listen to the demonstration and then try playing along with the backup track. We've added chord symbols above the music to help you with the left hand. Remember to count to yourself before starting until you feel confident with the rhythm of 3 beats in a bar. This piece also starts on the last beat of the bar, known as the upbeat. This is quite common. You simply need to count 1, 2, and then start playing on 3, continuing 1, 2, 3 from there. Here's another well-known song to build on your repertoire. Keep the left hand steady and don't forget to count. First, listen to the demonstration, and then try playing along with the backup track. This piece combines everything you've learned so far. You'll need to follow the music quite carefully and work out fingerings that you are comfortable with. Stick with it and you shouldn't have too many problems. Congratulations! In a very short time, you've covered a lot of ground, and you're already well on your way to being able to learn and play more great songs for keyboard. You've learned correct posture at the keyboard, where to place your fingers on the keys, and how to play with both hands together. You've also learned a lot about music, how to read music notation, and how to count note lengths and play in time. Keep up the good work.